May we please settle down? Thank you. Chief guest, Chairman of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat, Mr. Viraf Mehta. Chairman Trustee of the J Wadia Agyari Trust, Mr. Kersi Limatwala. His co-trustees, Erward Bhada, manager of the J Wadia Agyari. Structured Religious Course Director, Erward Dr. Ramyar Karanjia. My entire extended family of SRC participants, new friends, especially the youngsters out here, a very, very warm welcome to one and all. It is indeed a brilliant novel idea of Mr. Limatwala to celebrate the 190th Salgreh of Wadia Agyari with a theme so relevant and so pertinent, worshipping Aura Masta in the jet set age. Yes, we all have different takes on religion, but at the end of it, our goal is to let our religion blossom. And the best way to make Zoroastrianism bloom is to catch them young. But our youngsters are saddled with mobiles, social media, AI now, and Aura Masta takes a back seat. So let us try a wee little bit to change this scenario. Though the mobile stays in our hand, let Zarathustra dwell in our hearts. Maidyorem Chinoy, a prize winner at the Iran League and a student at the Dadar Athornan Institute, reinforces this idea in his monachat as we start our program today.
આજે હું તમો સમક્ષ એક મોનાજાત રજૂ કરીશ જેનું નામ છે કોઈ પૂછે મને. કોઈ પૂછે મને, કોઈ પૂછે મને ક્યા છે તારા જરદોસ પેગંબર, દિલ ચીરીને બતાવો મારા જીગરની અંદર. કોઈ પૂછે મને, કોઈ પૂછે મને ક્યા છે તારા જરદોસ પેગંબર, દિલ ચીરીને બતાવો મારા જીગરની અંદર. આતશની જ્યોત દે તો સારી જગમ જગાવી, મસ્ત યશની દિંદી બુલંદી તે જગમાં ફેલાવી. એકા તુજ ખરો છે, એકા તુજ ખરો છે હમારી દિન રાબર, જીવ જાનને આ જિંદગી કુરબાન જેની ઉપર. કોઈ પૂછે મને, કોઈ પૂછે મને ક્યા છે તારા જરદોસ પેગંબર, દિલ ચીરીને બતાવો મારા જીગરની અંદર. કોઈ પૂછે મને, ओ प्यारा पैगंबर तने मुझ कौम पुकाटी, थजे सदा सहाय एम दुआ गुजाती. राबर हमारी दिनो छे कंतरा वगर, जीव जानने ने आ जिंदगी कुर्बान जनी ऊपर. कोई पूछे मने, कोई पूछे मने क्या छे तारा जरदोस पैगंबर, दिल चीरीने बताओ मारा जिगरनी अंदर. कोई पूछे मने, कोई पूछे मने, कोई पूछे मने.
Thank you, my dear M. Time is precious, but time is ticking. One of the main things I have learned from our first speaker for the day, Chairman Mr. Kersi Limatwala, is that we must use our time fruitfully on focused work. We must know our job so well that no other person can undervalue our time, our efforts, our skills. He always says, be resilient ever and give up never. Because if God is with us, no one can be against us. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of welcome for Mr. Limatwala.
Mr. Viraf Mehta, Chairman of Bombay Parsi Panchayat. He will be formally introduced by Roxanne, but just a few words about him. From what I know him, I know him since he was in his short pants, maybe 9 years old. And I've seen him grow up, and today he's holding the most coveted and the most onerous position in the community. He was pushed into community service, and if I may also say politics, community politics, by his father, by his father. But now he has grown in himself, and I think you are doing a wonderful job at the Bombay Parsi Panchayat. We have Dr. Edward Ramyar Karanjia. Whatever I may say about him is less, considering the contribution that he has made to our Agyari and our structured course for over the last 17 years. And we have our Agyari manager, Edward Kersi Bada, who has been managing the Agyari magnificently, and if I may say in all humility, it is one of the best managed Agyari in town. My co-trustees, Anos Patel and Aisha, who prefer to sit in the audience so that they can take care of all the arrangements. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you to this 190th anniversary of J Wadia Agyari. We have to remember Aura Mazda, but we also have to remember the Wadia family who has established this Agyari 190 years back. Our heartfelt thanks to them that we are here because they established this place. What fills my heart most today is to see such a large congregation, not just here in the hall, but also for the Jashan. I have not seen so many devotees at the Jashan in the past. Thank you for being present. As Roxanne has already announced, this function today is an emphasis on youth. And the subject is worshipping Aura Mazda in a jet set age. And befitting that theme, we have a young man as the chief guest also. Although he says, I am not so young, but still, he's youngest amongst all of us here. We are not here to sermonize you today on how to worship Aura Mazda. We will just share some thoughts and then leave it for you to decide. how and what you should do. Ahura Mazda, as we all know, is the supreme being, the wise Lord, Lord of wisdom, for the wondrous creation, the amazing world order, the inescapable law of cause and effect, what and what not. We all are just in awe of him. He is known by various names in different religions, by different communities, but he is the unquestionable supreme being for everyone. So the question arises, how do we worship him? Or there is no way but to worship him. And worship is a very wide term, if I may say, an all embracing term, revering, respecting, loving, devoting, all with a lot of intensity. And of course, the most common way of worship is praying. But then, which is the best way to worship? I think to begin with, we have to attune to Ahura Mazda before we start worshipping. We have to attune. And the first step is to cleanse our body and mind. We wash our hands 10 times a day. We bathe every day, sometimes even twice a day. But have you ever thought, do we clean our mind every day? I think this is something very important. It is as important as washing your hands or taking a bath, or I would say more important than that. You have to clean your mind every day because your mind gets polluted with all the negativity during the day. Anger, jealousy, hatred, what and what not. And we have to cleanse it. And believe me, if you do this exercise on a regular basis every day, you will feel the difference within yourself. You'll get energized. You'll feel refreshed. Your body will even secrete the good hormones. So, my first take is when you are so particular and careful about taking your bath and cleaning yourself physically, also attempt to clean your mind before you start your worship. I think that is the first step when you do your worship. And then, after you've done that, there is a vacuum in the negativity has gone. So the next step is fill it up with some positive thoughts of being helpful, of being beneficial, and making your life worth living and not being so self-centered. And this is not what I am saying. In Yenge Atam, You are enjoying to do that because it says that you are supposed to pray and lead a good life also. And there have been great people in the world who talk about compassion, love, and all that. So I think the next step after you cleared all the negativity is to bring in all the positivity which can make a difference in our life. In life, in life, please let us not have any disturbance, please. In life, we all play different roles. At home, we are a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, a brother, a sister. At work, there is someone above us, someone below us. In society, we choose to play different roles. But in all these things, whether at home, work, or in society, there is an obligation that we have to fulfill. There is a duty that we have to perform for that role which we are playing. And we have to perform that role diligently and conscientiously. I think this is also a worship. As our scriptures tell us, we as Zoroastrians have another duty, and that is to respect and preserve and conserve all of God's creation and the environment. The world is facing challenges in this field, but it enjoins upon us to respect and protect that. That is also a worship. But the commonest way of worship, as I have told you, is prayers. Now, according to me, it is the depth of your prayers rather than the length of your prayers which is more important. Somebody whom I know came to me one day and told me, I pray, I rank the third highest in the community for the amount of hours I spend in prayers. I don't know how he figured that out. But that was not all. Aisha is laughing because she knows whom I am referring to. But that is not all. Then he says, I want to become the second. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we wanting to be in the Guinness book or are we worshipping Auramasta? Swami Vivekananda said that you will be nearer to heaven playing football than studying the Gita. And what he meant when he said that was that when you play a game, when you are playing football, your concentration and your focus is on what you are doing at that point in time. How many of us do that when we pray? Mine is going here and there. So there is so much sense in what he had said. So as I said, it is not the length, but your attunement when you pray. That is what is important. Of course, prayers are necessary. If recited with the right pronunciations, it creates the right vibrations and positive energy, which helps us. But as I mentioned in the Engeatam, it says that it has to be backed by good thoughts and good actions and a good life. And finally, to complete today's theme, we've spoken about Aura Mazda, worship, and now the jet set age. In the jet set age, everyone wants a quick fix. Instant tea, coffee is a passe. But instant delivery, instant communication, ready to eat, super fast travel, and now super fast data processing, whereby through artificial intelligence, we will be able to do anything and everything at the press of a button. So, this is the age in which we are moving. And there has been a research done which says that the attention span and the focus and concentration in the present generation is drastically low compared to what it was in the past. I'm not saying this is a research report. And psychologists call them popcorn mind. It is called popcorn mind because your mind hops and pops from one thought to the other. There is no focus, there is no concentration. And this is a phenomenon with which the younger generation is growing up with. And if not addressed, it can become a syndrome. Because what happens is, in this digital age, there is an overdose of apps and social media which is doling out so much of inconsequential information, and it causes mental fatigue. There is so much that is being doled out without your even wanting, that it is causing mental fatigue. And this disturbs your mind, your focus, your concentration. And it leads rather to less productivity and clarity of thought also gets affected. So that is why Sam, it can become a syndrome. And syndromes have to be attended to. Otherwise, it can only get worse. So anyway, how do we worship in this new age? As I said, there are no quick fixes. But you follow the template which I shared with you. Of course, Farajyad is mandatory. But there are also short prayers which are efficacious. Like the Hosbam in the morning, a simple Saroj Baj, Khodaina Eksoek Nam, satires, daily satires, and some very effective nirangs. So these are a few things. But as I said again, what is important is not what you pray, but how you pray. And ultimately, how you lead your life is the best worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Limatwala. Excellence raises its head in various forms, and one such form is music. Music in communion with God is therapeutic. Burgess Bharda and Zian Turel, once again prize winners at the Iran League and students of the Dada Ratornan Institute, present us their Monajat with a historical twist. Over to Burgess and Zian.
આજે અમે તમારા સમક્ષ એક મોનાજાત રજૂ કરશું જેનું નામ છે એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો. એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો આવ્યો મુકમ બંદર સંજાન, દિન ધરમ ને કાજે છોડી આવ્યા માદર વતન ઈરાન. એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો આવ્યો મુકમ બંદર સંજાન, દિન ધરમ ને કાજે છોડી આવ્યા માદર વતન ઈરાન. આતશ પછાની જાલવની કજ પડ્યા રણ મેદાન, માં બહેનોએ અસ્મત સાચવવા કીધા જાન કુરબાન. સંજાનથી નીકળીને આવ્યા ઉડવાડા ગામ, આતશ પછાને પરખવવા કાજે એ શુભ ધામ. એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો આવ્યો મુકમ બંદર સંજાન, દિન ધરમ ને કાજે છોડી આવ્યા માદર વતન ઈરાન. ગુજરાતમાં ફેલાઈ ગયા સૌ જુડે જુડે ધામ, ધીરા વીરા પારસીઓ એ કીધા ભલાઈના કામ. કોમ પર કોમની સખવતવા દીધું સર્વે દાન, તાટા વાડિયા પિતિટ એ બંધાવ્યા અનેક મકાન. એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો આવ્યો મુકમ બંદર સંજાન, દિન ધરમ ને કાજે છોડી આવ્યા માદર વતન ઈરાન. એક ઝરતોસ્તી તોડો આવ્યો મુકમ બંદર સંજાન, દિન ધરમ ને કાજે છોડી આવ્યા માદર વતન ઈરાન.
Thank you, Burgess. Thank you, Zian. We had with us a very strict disciplinarian, always looking very stern. I actually get scared of him. Very, very efficient, super capable. આપણે કે રાતના બી કોઈ ગુજરી જાય તો ફોન કરવાનો. Work will be done, and it is truly done. And a person who has given a completely new dimension to this Agyari. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Edward Kersi Bhada, આપણી અગિયારીના પંથથી.
My dear trustees, Mr. Limatwala, Mr. Hanos Patel, Aisha, Chairman of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat, Mr. Viraf Mehta, Mrs. Tirandas, Principal of the Athonan Institute, Edward Dr. Ramyar Karanjia, my colleague and my teacher, and my dear friends. Just memorized two things over here today. આજે બચ્ચાઓ આજે અહીંયા મોનાજાત ગાઈ ગયા. It just memorized myself doing things in madrasa at my time. We used to also sing all these monajats. કોઈ પૂછે મને ઉથો લોકો ને બધી ઘણી બધી મોનાજાતો બીજી છે ને still they are sung in madrasa. So it just memorized my childhood કે તે વખતે આપણે બી ગાતા હતા. ઈરાન લીગના કોમ્પિટિશન્સમાં જતા હતા, શાનામુઓ ગાતા હતા, and we win over there. Secondly, Mr. Limatwala today had this jet set age. a very good topic today. I will just reflect the light of this, a small thing, and would request all the audience over here today present કે જેટ સેટ એજમાં શું કરવું જોઈએ, how we put things into minds of these youngsters. Practically, what I do here with youngsters is કે when they are given a big book of Khorrevasta to pray, they think કે આટલું બધું ભણવાનું કેમ ભણશું. So what you are supposed to do is કે take out some small prayers from them, Xerox karo, bind it out and put it to them. Because આપણે સ્કૂલના લેસનમાં બી એ લોકોને જોઈશું, if they say this books, big books, તો એ લોકોને જરા ટેન્શન આવી જાય કે બધું આટલું બધું હોમવર્ક કરવાનું છે, આટલું બધું સ્કૂલમાં લેસન્સ છે, તો બેટર કે પટલી ચોપડી હોય. તો આઈ થિંક કે હમણાંના યંગસ્ટર્સ they are going back to worse now. If you see, it is very unfortunate because I see in the Agyaris કે very few youngsters come today in Agyari every day પગે ભરવાને વસ્તે. તો એવી એક બુક જો કોઈ ફેમિલીનું જે મોટું હોય તે એ લોકોને કરી ને એક નલ્લું બાઇન્ડિંગ કરીને આપે, and they are taught કે in this jet set age, this is the jet set speed of which you can go fast with all these short prayers. તો એક નલ્લી બુક જોઈને એ લોકોને થોડું ટેન્શન ઓછું થઈ જશે કે ભાઈ નલ્લી છે, થોડું બનવાનું છે, ચાલો બનીએ. So we start with ignite them with this small prayers with a small book and then go further as they grow up. So I think today a very good topic of jet set age, how to promote these youngsters praying in this jet set age, because we know કે આજે mobiles આવી ગયા છે ને everything is in the mobile. In fact, નવજોતના બચ્ચાઓ મારી આગળ શીખવા આવે છે, તે લોકો વધારે જલ્દી ઓડિયો પકડે છે. તે લોકોના માય બાપ કહે છે કે કેસી તારું ઓડિયો જો હોય તો આપ, તે લોકો જલ્દી શીખશે. તો હવે that also becomes a jet set age again, કેમ કે શીખવા કરતા એ લોકો ઓડિયો પરથી જલ્દી શીખી જાય છે. તો I think today this topic was a very good topic. I think બધા જેટલા બી અહીંયા ગ્રાન્ડ પેરેન્ટ્સ જેટલા બી છે તે લોકોને as a Pantaki of this Agyari would request them કે please youngsters ઓને encourage કરો આવવાનું અગિયારી વસ્તે. Please make them pray because we are going totally out of this religion. હું પ્રેક્ટિકલી જોઉં છું કે યંગસ્ટરો કોઈ બી ચીજની અંદર એ લોકો ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ લેતા નથી. એ લોકોને કંઈ બી કહેવામાં આવે તો they don't know anything about this. It is so unfortunate. Sometimes I see youngsters મમ્મી ડેડીને પૂછતા કે સુખર કોમ મૂકવાનું ને રખ્યા કેમ લેવાની. It is that much heartbreaking. So I would request, can કે Mr. Limatwala has taken such a good initiative of this Dharmagyan classes and structural course. The 17 years Ramyar is coming over here to guide us and teach us. So superb it is. So we see the next generation also sitting over here and listening to Ramyar and to Mr. Limatwala and all other speakers. So please put that in their minds. I think કે પેલું સલમાન ખાનનું એક પિક્ચર આવેલું કિક, જેમાં સલમાન ખાન કહે છે કે તું મને મદદ કીધી તો હવે આગળ શું કરું, તો આગળ તું 3 જણને મદદ કરજે. તો તેવી રીતે એઝ ગ્રાન્ડ પેરેન્ટ્સ તમે એક પેરેન્ટ બીજા 3 જણને કહેશો, તે 3 જણ 6 જણને કહેશે, and I think we can blow up that way and grow up that way, and we will try to put things into these youngsters because we are just losing them anyway. And I would request all the grandparents and all the parents કે આપણા youngsters ને please ઉપર લઈ આવો, and we see more and more youngsters coming in this structural course ને listening to these lectures. It's so good કે આપણે આપણું religion deeply સમજવાનું મળે છે, deeply જાણવાનું મળે છે. The beauty of the religion we come to know. I will not take much time. May God bless you with lots of health, with lots of wealth, with lots of prosperity and lots of tandarusty. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward Kersibhada. Yes, indeed, our structured religious course has completed 17 full years in this very same MJ Wadia Agyari Hall. 17 years have been a wonderful experience for me with ever Dr. Ramya Karanjia, who has taught me three important rules in life. Rule number one, why be second best when you can be the best? Do your very, very best and then leave him the rest. Rule number two, dream big. Do not compromise on your dreams, but do not get attached to the outcome either. Rule number three, you cannot please all the people all the time. So long as you please God, that is all that matters. Yes, I don't need to say a big hand. Erva Dr. Ramyar Karanjia, please.
Thank you, Roxanne, for that wonderful introduction. Chief guest, Mr. Viraf Mehta, Chairman of the MJ Wadia Fire Temple, Mr. Kersi Limatwala, the in charge of the Agyari, Edward Kersi Bhada, other trustees of the Agyari, Mrs. Tirandas, and all you wonderful people present over here. તમોને બધાને પાતશા સાહેબની સાલગ્રહ મુબારક ને પાતશા સાહેબને બી સાલગ્રહ એવનને મુબારક. 190 years is not a short period. Today I decided to actually take the advice of Mr. Limatwala and go jet set. Jet set માં શું થાય બે ચીજ થાય. Multitasking. Many things people said. I would add one more, multitasking. So I'm going to do two things very fast. One is give you a brief history of this Agyari. 190 years ago, આ પાતશા સાહેબની સ્થાપના થયેલી હતી. પણ આ મકાનની સ્થાપના ત્યારે નહીં થયેલી હતી. જે મકાનમાં હમણાં પાતશા સાહેબ છે, તે મકાનને 160 years થયા છે. પણ પાતશા સાહેબને 190 years થયા છે. That means that for 30 years the Patsha Sahib was somewhere else. Now where was he? 190 years ago, two Wadia brothers, their names were Dadabhai and Mancheji. They decided કે એ લોકોની એસ્ટેટ છે જે લોકોને બ્રિટિશર્સોએ ગિફ્ટમાં આપેલી છે, તેમાં એ લોકો બિઝનેસ બી કરે ને સાથે પાતશા સાહેબને બી સ્થાપે. તો તેવી રીતના 190 years back, these two brothers, Dadabhai and Mancherji Pestanji Wadia, started the fire temple and the sacred fire temple on this very day. એ લોકોનું બિઝનેસ હતું, શિપ ચેનલિંગ હતું. હવે બિઝનેસમાં અહીંયા ઘણા બધા બિઝનેસમેન છે, આપણા ચીફ ગેસ્ટ બી મોટા બિઝનેસમેન છે. બિઝનેસમાં અપ્સ એન્ડ ડાઉન્સ આવે, તેમ આ બે બ્રધર્સની લાઈફમાં બી ડાઉન આવ્યું બિઝનેસમાં, એન્ડ દે હેડ નો મની. So within 15 years of establishing of the fire temple, they had to take a big loan. Even in those times, loans were available. પણ તેને વાસ્તે આખી આ એસ્ટેટ આઈ નહીં, એટલે અહીંયા નહીં હોતી, તે તો કેસે બીજે હોતી દૂર, પણ લાલબાગમાં જ હોતી. તો આખી એસ્ટેટ મોર્ગેજ મૂકવી પડી. દે ફેલ્ટ કે બિઝનેસમાં પાછું અપસ્વિંગ આવશે, પૈસા કમાશું ને મોર્ગેજ પે કરી દઈશું, પણ તેમ નહીં થયું ને તે આખું એ લોકોનું એસ્ટેટ ઓક્શન કરવું પડ્યું. તેમાં અગિયારી બી આવી ગઈ. દે ટ્રાઈડ ધેર બેસ્ટ. કોર્ટમાં ગયા, હાઈકોર્ટમાં ગયા, સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટમાં ગયા, બધું ટ્રાય આઉટ કીધું, પણ દે વર નોટ સક્સેસફુલ. છેલ્લે લોકોએ એમ બી એક ટ્રાય કીધું કે આ તો અમને બ્રિટિશ એમ્પાયર તરફથી ગિફ્ટ મળેલું છે એસ્ટેટ, તો તમે નહીં ઓક્શન કરી શકો. but nothing worked. And that time, the full estate, including the makan of the Pacha Sahib, had to be auctioned off at 42,000 rupees. તારે પાછા સાહેબને શું કરવાનું? તો આપણે જાણીએ છીએ હમણાં બચ્ચાઓએ ગાયું ત્યારે ટાટા વડિયા પીટીટોએ બંધાવ્યા અનેક મકાન. તો વાડિયાવાલાઓએ ઘણા મકાનો બંધાવેલા ને તેવાનું એક આપણું વાડિયાજીનું આતશબેરામ. તો આ પાછા સાહેબને 10 વર્ષ ફ્રોમ 1853 ટુ 1863 વાડિયાજી આતશબેરામ સાહેબના મકાનમાં રાખ્યા. પછી વાડિયા ફેમિલીના જ આજે જે આપણે અગિયારીને જે જે વાડિયા બોલીએ જ મંચેરજી જમશેદજી વાડિયા, તેવનને થયું કે મારા પાછા સાહેબને મારા કુટુંબના પાછા હું લઈ આવું ને એવને મંચેરજી જમશેદજી વાડિયા જે વાડિયાએ આ આપણું મકાન જે હમણાં જેમાં પાછા સાહેબ બિરાજમાન છે તે પેલું જો પહેલે જગા હતી તેનાથી થોડું નજદીક બંધાવવાનો વિચાર કીધો. મકાન બંધાવવાનું શરૂ થયું, પણ અનફોર્ચ્યુનેટલી બિફોર ધ મકાન વોઝ કમ્પ્લીટ he passed off. પણ એવનના બે દીકરાઓએ એવનનું કામ પૂરું કીધું ને ફાઇનલી અગિયારીના સાલગ્રેના જ દિવસે 1863માં આપણા પાછા સાહેબને પાછા અહીંયા લાયા. એન્ડ બાય ધ ગ્રેસ ઓફ ગોડ, સિન્સ ધ પાસ્ટ 160 years, he is burning at the same very place and giving us all blessings. And the trustees in their wisdom, because the Agyari had already become almost 150 years old, about 17-18 years back, Agyari ne વધારે strengthen કીધી, વધારે fortify કીધી ને by the grace of God for the next decades or even centuries, the Pacha Sahib would go on with such a wonderful team of management and trustees. So આપણે બધાનો આ પાચાને નમન. Now, coming to the topic of the day, jet set age. આજે I teach children, even KG ના અને first standard ના બી બચ્ચાઓને હું શીખવું છું. When I ask them, બન્યો કે તો ને કહેલું કે કેમના મસ્તા બનજો આશમો બનજો ને, નહીં બન્યો, કાંઈ નહીં બન્યો, ટાઈમ જ નથી. Just imagine KG નું બચ્ચું is telling me, આ બધા બચ્ચાઓ તો બોલે છે અવારનવાર ટાઈમ નથી, હોમવર્ક કેમ નથી કીધું, ટાઈમ નથી. આજે કોઈની આગળ બી ટાઈમ નથી. ઇવન કિન્ડરગાર્ટન ચિલ્ડ્રન ડોન્ટ હેવ ટાઈમ. સીધું કે જ ટાઈમ નહીં હું તમારી આગળ. આઈ ક્લાસથી પેલો ક્લાસ, વોટ ટુ ડુ? સો દેટ ઇઝ ધ રિયાલિટી ઓફ ટુડે. બટ લેટ અસ સી, ધ વર્ડ જેટ સેટ એ જ આજનો ને કાલનો નથી. આ પાછા સાહેબની જ્યારે 100 વર્ષની સાલગ્રહ થયેલી, એટલે 90 વર્ષ અગાઉ, ત્યારે the word jet age came because the jet engines came. Jet engines came in 1940s. Ne, what happened at that time? Something very big happened. The time of travel cut into half. Up till now, the planes were going 300 mph. Now, with the jet, they went 600 mph cruising speed. So થયું શું કે હવે ટાઈમ કટ ઇન્ટુ હાફ, એક્સ્ટ્રા વખત મળ્યો. શું કરે તો જેટ એજ પછી 10 વર્ષ રહીને આવી જેટ સેટ એજ. Now what is jet set age? જેટ સેટ એટલે જે ઘણા જ પૈસાવાળા હતા તે લોકોને પાર્ટી કરવા અહીંયાથી ત્યાં જવું પડતું હતું. ટાઈમ બહુ વેસ્ટ જતો હતો. અહીંયાથી દુબઈ આજે આપણે જેટમાં 3 કલાકમાં જઈએ જ, તે વખતે 6 કલાક થતા હતા. પાર્ટી કરવા તો જવું પડે. તો એટ 1950s, American Russian columnist coined the term jet set age, especially for the people who wanted to party more, and that's why they had to travel faster. તો હવે come to the topic, jet age એટલે શું? તમારો ટાઈમ અડધો કરી દેવો બસ, નથિંગ મોર. સો વેન યુ આર પ્રેઇંગ, આપણે બંદગી કરીએ, ફરજિયાત બંદગી, હાઉ મચ ટાઈમ ડઝ ઇટ ટેક? 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes? So in the jet age, you are only allowed to halve the time, not more. કારણ કે જેટ only halves your time. પણ ઓકે, માન્યું કે તેટલું બી આપણે નથી કરી શકતા, તો we can still say કે ઓર ઓછું કરો, 25% કરો, સુપરસોનિક સ્પીડ કરો. કારણ કે jet age is now passe. Supersonic plane goes double jet speed. So supersonic speed. પણ એટલું તો કરો, jet age તો કરો. So we generally feel, all of us, children, grown-ups, that by following the religion, by worshipping Aura Mazda, we are doing them a great favor. We are doing religion a favor. We are doing Aura Mazda a favor. No, that is not true. By following the religion, by following Aura Mazda, by saying prayers, we are only doing ourselves a favor. Mr. Limatwala pointed this out when he said કે આપણે માઇન્ડને પ્યોરિફાય કરવાનું. માઇન્ડને પ્યોરિફાય કરવાનું, there is no better way than to pray properly. Pray with full attention and concentration. આજે આપણે બધાને ઘેરે વોશિંગ મશીન્સ છે, બધા લેડીઝો ઘણા છે અહીંયા, they will understand me કે વોશિંગ મશીનને આજે સાફ કરવાને વાસ્તે ઓટો મોડ હોય છે. તમને કંઈ ધોવાનું સાફ કરવાનું નથી જરૂર. You put the washing machine in auto mode and it will wash itself. તો તમારું માઇન્ડ ઓટો મોડમાં ચાલી જાય જ્યારે તમે પ્રેયર્સ કરો છો, ત્યારે તમારું સેલ્ફ ક્લિનિંગ મોડમાં ચાલી જાય. એટલે મિસ્ટર લિમતવાલાએ જે સજેસ્ટ કીધું, ક્લિનિંગ ધ માઇન્ડ, it will happen by itself if one is praying properly. આપણે કંઈ એન્જિન ટ્યુન કરીએ તો what happens to the car? The car will run better. આપણે knife sharpen કરીએ તો what happens? We are able to cut faster. In the same way, if we are able to cleanse the mind, to relax the mind will do every other chore much faster. So that is the benefit of helping ourselves. આપણા માઇન્ડને આપણે વધારે ટાઈમ આપીએ. So by praying, we are not doing, we feel કે આપણે દાદાજીને ઉપકાર કીધો, પણ નહીં, we are doing ourselves a favor. એવાનું તો ઉપકાર માનીએ તેટલો ઓછો છે, પણ તેનાથી ઇનડાયરેક્ટલી બેનિફિટ પ્રેયર્સથી આપણને જ થાય છે. So now 5 small suggestions કે જેટ સેટ એજ ચાલો જોઈએ જ. આ બેબી કહે છે કે નહીં ભાઈ મને ટાઈમ નથી, 10% બી નથી. નહીં, તું નથી બોલી સર, બિચારી ગભરાઈ ગઈ. નો આજે કોઈ બી બચ્ચો, એની એજનું કોઈ બી બચ્ચું કહેશે કે ભાઈ મને 30 મિનિટ્સનો 10% કહેશે તો હું પ્રે કરીશ 3 to 5 મિનિટ્સ, તેનાથી વધારે નહીં કરે. જો કે અમારા મદ્રસામાં બચ્ચાઓને તો કમ્પલસરી પીરિયડ્સ હોય પ્રેયરના, સો દે હેવ ગોટ નો અધર વે આઉટ. પણ ઘેરોની વાત છે. સો વન ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ થિંગ ઇન જેટ સેટ એજ, જેટલું બી તમે ફોલો કરો, યુ ઇન્ટરનલાઇઝ ધ રિલિજન. આજે સાયકોલોજીમાં બી there is a terminology, embody the trait. સો ઇન્ટરનલાઇઝ, તમે દાદા ઓરમઝને ખાલી હાથ જોડીને પ્રેયર ના કરો, એવનની શું ક્વોલિટીઝ છે તે જોવો, ને તે ક્વોલિટી થોડી આપણી અંદર ઇમ્બાઇબ કરવાની કોશિશ કરશું. And that goes for all other Ameshaspan Yazats, that goes for all role models, all heroes that you have in life. Anybody, take something and internalize it. Don't just keep it out of your life, internalize it. Second is, whatever you do, 5 minutes bhi bano, but pray it with complete focus, totally concentrating on the words. That will have much more effect than spending. આપણા મિસ્ટર લિમતવાલાએ જ કહ્યું, સેકન્ડ કોઈ આવી રહેલું છે વર્લ્ડની અંદર રેકોર્ડ બુકમાં, ફર્સ્ટ બી આવે કદાચ, પણ તે જો હવે તેવન ક્વોલિટી ટાઈમ નહીં મૂકતા હોય તો હવે એક બચ્ચું જો 10 મિનિટ બી બનતું હશે, that would be better. Third is, pray in small packets. Now youngsters will gel with this. એક અશેમ બનતા કેટલો વાર લાગે છે? Have you calculated? 5 seconds. યથાવર્ય બનતા 10 seconds. કસ્સી કરતા 200 seconds, 250 seconds at the most, 230 seconds. So ટાઈમ હોય 10 સેકન્ડ બી હોય તો નાવ આજે કોઈના આગળ કલાકો નથી, મિનિટો બી નથી, સો વી કેન ગો સેકન્ડ વાઇઝ. ટાઈમ મળે ત્યારે બેઠા બેઠા અશેમ વહુ બનો, 5-5 સેકન્ડ પકડીને, 10-10 સેકન્ડ પકડીને યથાવર્યો બનો, એન્ડ keep gathering those small things. આજે આપણે ઘણા ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ કન્સલ્ટન્ટ્સો છે બધા અહીંયા. આજે આપણે સિપનો જમાનો છે. સિસ્ટમેટિક ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ પ્લાન. નલ્લું ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરો, મોટું થશે. તો પ્રેયર્સમાં બી નલ્લું ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરશું આપણે 5 સેકન્ડ, 10 સેકન્ડ, and keep collecting till we can make it to a few minutes or hours. It's in our own bank balance. In our God's bank balance, it keeps collected. So go small, in small packets pay, and then you'll like to go for larger packets. And another thing, you have to steal time. Nobody gets more than 24 hours in a day. What you make out of it is up to you. Greatest men have got to greatest heights by stealing time, not from somebody else, but from one's own time. Steal time somewhere. Make out time for exercise. Make out time for something that you like to do, your hobby. Take out time for praying. Steal time, even for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. But take out time, steal time, and thus get into the habit. So this is what Jet Set Age tells us. Go small, in small packages, and be your own boss and do it. And finally, nothing can be achieved till you are convinced that it is helpful to you. So be convinced that God, religion, and prayers are going to help you. Till you convince yourself, doing everything else will not help that much. So the first thing is to convince ourselves. So once again, I'll end my brief presentation over here. But before that, we will pray a few lines from the Atashnyas for the Atashpatsa Sahib. Sauche buye, you can keep seated. Thank you. Sauche buye amyan mane, mat sauche buye amyan mane, Rauchahi buye amyan mane, Vakshate buye amyan mane. O આતશપાતશા સાહેબ, તમે હંમેશા સુધી આ તમારા મકનમાં જલતા રહો, જલહલતા રહો, પ્રકાશ આપતા રહો, ને કોમને ને દુનિયાની ઉપર સુખ પાથરતા રહો. અથ જમ્યાદ યથા આફરીનામ. થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ.
Thank you, Erva Dr. Ramyar Karanjia. That was wonderful. May we now request our Chairman Trustee, Mr. Kersi Limatwala, to offer a floral tribute to Erva Dr. Ramyar Karanjia. That was truly history revisited. After knowing the history of our Agyari, we have Delias Panthaki, a winner at the Iran League and a student of the Dadar Athornan Institute, taking us back to our roots with a Shahnama recital.
આજે હું તમો સમક્ષ એક શાહનામું રજૂ કરીશ જેનું નામ છે રુસ્તમ ને સોરાબ સાથની લડાઈ પહેલા. રુસ્તમ ને સોરાબને કહેલા સુકૂન પહેલે હું પર્શિયનમાં રજૂ કરીશ. નવરડે રોસ્તમ બા સોરાબ મારા દીદર સંગ દણિયા ઓખો Kimana modharane turan goru Chekadar ma sitar gavae manas वमरडे जहांजीर पाई मनास मीरे मतारत बतोबर दिलम nakaham ge janam jesan box telam namani baturkan badinya no soft Pairan dadan turani jazof હવે હું ગુજરાતીમાં રજૂ કરીશ દરિયા ને પહાડો એ જોયા છે જંગ ને ત્યાં છે તુરાની સરદારો દંગ સિતાર છે રોશન મારા ગવા કે દુનિયા ને દીધે મેં કેવી પના મગર જોએ તૂને ઉપજે મયા અજે બહુ ચડે છે જીગરમાં દયા નથી કોઈ અધિસ્તો તો તુર્કી જમાન નથી કોઈ ઈરાન में तू समान સોરાવે સુનિયા સકુંજા રેમ વિચાર્યું થશે મોચતાનું હાય કેમ તુરત કે દો સોરાવે સીધો સવાલ પૂછું હું તેનો કાહે રાસ્તહાલ કાહે નામ તારું મને મહેરબાન તું છે યા નહીં रुस्तम पहलवान
Thank you, Delias. When you keep trying, even when it's tough, no one can stop you from achieving what you truly want. The universe has your back. I can and I will is the motto of our chief guest who has proved this point to a perfect T. As a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering from the Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago, Mr. Viraf Mehta went on to do his Master's in Finance from the same institute. Working for CLSA India Private Limited as Head of Trading, Vice President since 2006, he was amongst the top 5 traders for 3 years consecutively. He's a trustee of the Kapawala Agyari, founder member of Zing, which has now over 5,000 members, and the youngest chairman of the Bombay Parsi Panchayat. His hobbies are varied. I have still not said the main thing. His hobbies are varied. Did you know he has a private pilot's license to his credit? This takes us really to the jet set age. And he has played rugby at the international level for 15 years. With such diverse achievements, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot find any person other than Mr. Viraf Mehta as an epitome of worshipping Aura Masta in the jet set age. A huge welcome for Mr. Viraf Mehta.
Thank you very much for those kind words. I should have used you to introduce me at my elections. Thank you. Yeah. It's fine, it's fine. Yeah, it's good enough. It's okay, I'll manage. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Erwad Ramyar Karanjia, Dr. Erwad Ramyar Karanjia, Chairman of the J Wadia Agyari, Mr. Kaisi Limatwala, Erwad Kersi Bhada, Trustees of the J Wadia Agyari, my colleague trustee, Mrs. Tirandas, the ex-chairman of the BPP, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends of our community. I think the 3 speakers before me have taken away more than half my speech. So they've spoken a lot about the youth, about Zoroastrianism in a jet set age, with artificial intelligence. The only problem I see in speaking about that today is the people who need to learn about Zoroastrianism in the new age are not here. I counted, there's not even 10 youngsters sitting in this hall. And that's not anybody's fault. It's our own fault, it's their own fault. The question I always ask, and even at the panchayat when we sit, we talk so much about housing, we talk so much about philanthropy, we talk so much about helping people monetarily for health, medical aid, for education aid. But what happens to the young generation who are supposed to sit in those chairs in 20 and 30 years? What are we doing for them? When I was growing up and it came exam time, ICSE avi, HSC avi, mummy bolya dikra agyari ja bhanje, pray hard so you can get good marks. I'm sure all of you all do that with your kids and your grandkids. But is that the extent of our prayers? This agyari has celebrated 190 years. We have 7 Atash Berams probably within a 300-kilometer radius of Mumbai city. It's funny when the Parsi Iranis from America, Australia and UK come to India, nahi apre Atash Beram nu jara we'll do that one-day trip. Apre badda agyariyo ma jasu, apre jasan karsu, em karsu. But the people living in this city take it for granted. Today we live in a jet-set age. Everybody over here has WhatsApp. Everybody here, every good morning, good evening, kai bhi lafru thayu, forward kidu, something good, Adar Maino, Baman Roj, Kodat Sal. Don't you all wish each other? How many of your kids or your grandkids actually wish you back? How many of your kids or grandkids actually forward those messages on their own friends group? The problem is education. And kudos to Mr. Limatwala and Dr. Ramyar Karanjia and Dr. Erwad Bhada for doing this. They've been running for 17 years. 17 years they've been running religious education classes over here. But this should be done with every agyari, with every colony, not just the BPP, even private colonies. In fact, we've just spoken about this and we keep asking ourselves, if you go overseas, tame Chicago jao, New York jao, the Darbe Meher over there, every Sunday local classes rakhiye. Every Sunday. And 20, 30, 50 people come. Yes, Arda Matidao have non-Parsi wives. Arda Parsi ladies have non-Parsi husbands. But their children still come because they love the religion. Aaj Bombay ma, we say, nahi, apne Parsio, we all stick together. Kai? Karan ki apni common assets hai. The Bombay Parsi Panchayat is controlling 4,400 flats for you, for the community. But do you know that 55% of marriages today are intercaste marriages? Last year was the first time, 2022 was the first year where there were more intercaste marriages than marriages within our community. It is unfortunate, it is sad. I know when I talk about marriage, people always point a finger at me, ki how can you sit there and talk about marriage? But my concern is not about marriage. My concern is about the future of our community. You have the only reason why the Parsi Iranis living abroad don't like the Parsis in India. Ye loko akha orthodox che, ye loko backward che. They don't allow, people to convert. Ye loko sathe nati rehta. Why do they say that? And why do the Bombay Parsis give that impression? Because we want to protect not just our community, but our assets. Our religion teaches 3 things: good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Whether you're on WhatsApp, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, whatever you do, the bottom line that our religion imbibes, the guiding milestone that we live by are these 3. Humata, Hukta, Huvarashta. And every priest, the first thing they'll teach you before you do your kasti prayers are these 3 words. Now it's become fashionable. People tattoo an Asho Farohar on their back, or they tattoo Humada Hukta Huvarashta on your back. It's become a sign of being proud. And while you do not see the youngsters in your agyaris, Edward Bhada, you were saying, right, youngsters do not come. But you ask them, are they proud to be a Parsi? The answer is yes. Sadro Kasti Perech? Nay, I don't wear it, doesn't look good. But are you proud to be a Parsi? Is yes. You want to go on Parsi New Year to the Agyari and Atash Behram with the family, you will see these same kids over there. The question is speaking their language. 15, 20 years ago, none of y'all here had a mobile and WhatsApp to sit and say Khodat Sal Mubarak, Behram Roj Mubarak, Navroz Mubarak. You did not have that. You used to pick up the phone and do it. But now, if somebody in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is doing that today on their phone, imagine what a kid 40 years younger to you, what has changed for him. You have become the jet set age, as Ms. Dr. Ramyar Karanjia said. Jet set age started from the 1940s. 60 years later, you became the jet set age. Now, how do you share the same information with people 60 years ahead? One thing I will tell you, when we started Zing, my colleague Pearl is here, we had started Zing in 2009. We started it as the youth wing of the BPP. Why? Because the BPP was focusing on helping the senior citizens, giving housing to married couples. But what about the youth in their 20s and 30s who are trying to build their future? So we said we will do something very simple, not religious, not political. We will make Zing into a simple social platform, because even now, more than half the Parsis in Bombay city live in private buildings, not in colonies. When I was growing up, I knew 7 Parsi boys and girls. Karan ke mara daddy na friend zone bachao. That was it. Then of course, with time, I got to know more. But not everybody outside today has that privilege. And as has been rightly said, people today do not have the time. Kindergarten kids do not have the time. My nieces and nephews are 8 and 10 years old. Akkha day was school, basketball practice, tuition, this, that, the other. Where is the time to meet other Parsi girls and boys? We sit here proudly saying 190 saal ni aaje Salgiri che for this Agyari. Hall is full. Patrons for Jasal, it was full. It was such a pleasant sight. But can we guarantee this 25 years later? How do we make sure? In the age of artificial intelligence, you have to help share information with the youngsters. You have to educate them. Do not fight with them. Do not confront them. One thing we have learned, especially from the panchayat, fighting gets you nowhere. You can laugh, it's okay, I also laugh about it. Fighting gets you nowhere. You have to speak the language that the youngsters today relate to. I know parents, fathers and sons are fighting, mothers and daughters are fighting. It happens. You'll be surprised how much me and my father even today fight. When it comes to matters about the panchayat, my mother has warned us, Bhonu nahi nahi malse if we talk about panchayat matters on the dining table. Because we are always fighting about it. Because while he has only gone out of the panchayat 8 years ago, our styles of working are different, how we think are different. We both want the same goal. What is best for our community? But the way we do it are poles apart. I try to explain to him to move to what I want to do today because I find it practical, and I try to take the wisdom from what he had done into what I can do today, which is exactly what you as parents and grandparents have to do. You have the knowledge. Today, kids come and do their kasti, they do their navjot. Do they know the meaning of the prayers? My nieces and nephews did the navjots recently. Even they don't know the prayers. I'm sure at some point even I will not know most of the meanings. But if people do not do something about it, it will get lost. It will be something that you read about in a book. Ki te time hai matu. Arey wow, okay, fine. Chapter over, let us move on. So in this day of jet setters, artificial intelligence, my only humble request is speak the language of the youngsters. This is a legacy that has come down to us. I say it's destiny. We are proud to be a Parsi. One of my friends said, Viraf, you're very racist. Parsi. I said, I'm proud. I might not be very fair, but I'm still proud to be a Parsi. But it's what you feel from within. This is your destiny. God has made only 100,000, 1 lakh Parsi ho che akha India, akha world ma. India ma to I think 45,000 bache ach. You have 45,000 Parsis living in a country of 1.4 billion people. There is a reason why you all have come here as a Parsi and an Irani Sarsushti. It is a legacy for us to take forward. It is a legacy for us to be proud of. And I get my humble request, and we will make our effort, but speak the language of the youngsters and just educate. And hopefully, In another 190 years, this hall will be probably doubly full with people at the MJ Wadia Agyari Salgreh. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Viraf Mehta. That was really lovely. We now request Erva Dr. Ramyar Karanjia to present floral tributes to Mr. Viraf Mehta, please. The children of the Dadar Athornan Institute have given their performances, so may we request Mr. Viraf Mehta to give them a very small token of appreciation from the MJ Wadia Agyari Trust. Maidyorem Chinoy. Burgess Bharda. Zian Turel. And Delias Panthaki. Thank you. Maybe. There are many to go. This wouldn't have been possible without the real hard work of Havovi Karanjia. She was largely responsible in training these children to become what they are today. A very big hand for Mrs. Havovi Karanjia. As we come to the end of this first part of our program, we request the dignitaries to join the audience as our very own Parsi talent now takes over. Over to our Parsi Indian idols. Towards promoting our very own Indian idols, we would appreciate if our audience would encourage them with an appropriate applause from time to time, please. Our first performer, 10 years. She is our singer, a singer with a very innocent yet melodious voice. She will transport us into the world of the lonely goat herd.
Thank you.
High on a hill was a lonely goat herd, lay, 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 oh. Loud was a voice, the lonely goat herd, lay, lay, loo. Folks in a town that was quite remote heard, lay, 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 oh. Lusty and glee from the goat herd's road herd, lay, lay, loo. Oh, oh, lady, oodly, oh, oh, lady, oodly, oh, oh, lady, oodly, oh, lady, oodly, oh, lay. A prince on the bridge of a castle moat heard, lay, 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 ah. Men on a earth with loaded dirt heard, lay, lay, loo. Men in the midst of a table door heard, lay, 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 ah. Men drinking beer with the foam of float heard, lay, lay, loo. One little girl in a pale pink coat heard, lay, 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 oh. She yodeled back to the lonely goat herd, lay, lay, loo. Soon her mamma with a gleaming gloat heard, lay, 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 oh. What did you wait for a girl in goat herd, lay, lay, loo. Oddly, 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 oh, lady, oddly, oh, lady, oddly, oh, lady, oddly, oh, lady, oddly, oh, lady. One little girl in a pale pink coat heard lay, 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 oh. She yodeled back to the lonely girl heard lay, lay, loo. Soon Hama with a gleaming load heard lay, 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 oh. What did you wait for a girl and God heard lay, lay, loo. Happy a day, lady, oh, lady, lay, oh, oh, lady, low, lady, lay, oh. Soon that you wait will become a tree, lady, lady, loo. Olay, 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 woo! I think already start training. Start training मैंने समझा भी नहीं. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters and melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things. Then I don't feel so bad. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things. Then I don't feel so bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Delraz Meraz, sorry. We go over to our second item. Ballet is a dance of the gods, a very graceful and elegant dance which requires strength and flexibility of the body, concentration and dedication of the mind, love and passion of the soul. Parina's guard has been learning ballet since the age of 5 years, and she now performs professional shows all over the place. Let's sit back and enjoy her dance as she takes us to the world of ballet. Thank you, Parinas. Thank you very much. From the world of music and dance, we now come to the world of martial arts. 15-year-old Rustam Tirandaz is a self-taught nunchuck. Self-taught, no classes, no tuitions. He is a self-taught nunchuck artist. His passion for nunchucks has become the talk of the town after he won the talent round in the HPY 2024. Rustam, you are truly made for the stage world. The sky is not the limit for you. Avija. You want money?
No, because I've had people ask me, are we going to be fine while you're twirling these around? Don't worry, you're all safe.
Thanks. Very well done. All three participants, very well done. Thank you. We now request the mother of them all, Mrs. Armaiti Tirandas, to please hand over this little token to Meheraz. All three. Meheraz Delkha, Parinaz Gad, and our Mr. Nanchak artist. Dinyar, nee, what is his name? Sorry, Rustam Tirandas. Sorry. That was an endearing moment. Thank you, Mrs. Tirandas. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of our show today. Someone.
Before we wind up, my thanks to Roxanne, who has coordinated this entire function. With of course Darius. And a lot of good helping is waiting for you. But my request to you is, there is sufficient for everyone, so please don't rush. There is Kersi Gazdar, where are you? My thanks to Kersi Gazdar for ably managing everything. And my thanks also to Firoz Setna. Where is Firoz Setna? Who has very kindly provided us non-alcoholic beer for all of us today. So I would suggest you take things one after the other. Don't take both the things in your hand because it may be difficult for you to manage. Have your beer first, enjoy it, and then have your food tray. I acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Armaiti Tirandas. Thank you for having been here with us this evening. How are we? Ramya's wife and his mother, who is always with us. Thank you. And of course, our chief guest for this evening, Viraf Mehta. And thank all of you for having gathered in such large numbers today. There were many requests, many more who wanted to come, but we couldn't accommodate more than the capacity of this hall. So thank you, one and all.
Hi everyone. I'm not going to give a speech, but I know a very sweet poem I'd like all of you to hear. One thing that always cheers me when I'm feeling sad and low, when I tire of the daily trials I undergo, when those who should seem closest are like people I don't know. One thing that always cheers me is knowing God is near me. One thing that always cheers me when I do not understand how pain and sadness in our lives can get so out of hand. When the best of human efforts do not meet the day's demands, one thing that always cheers me is knowing God is near me. One thing that always cheers me more than anything I've known and show me I will never have to struggle on my own. For no matter what may happen, I will never be alone. The thing that always cheers me is knowing God is near me. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of our program. Thank you Mr. Viraf Mehta, thank you, Mr. Limatwala, Erwa Dr. Ramyar Karanjia, Erwat Kersi Bhada, Mrs. Armaiti Chirandas, Mr. Kersi Gazdar for the yummy food you provide to us year after year, month after month, Mr. Kobat Giwala. The entire audience, our young participants from the Dada Rathornan Institute and Meraz, Parinaz, Rustam, thank you very much and thank you very much the entire audience. Good night, God bless.